Hey, what's going on, guys? Like Butter here, and today I got a Division video because I want to talk about what was discussed on State of the Game yesterday. State of the Game is a weekly show that the developers do where they talk about current issues in the game and upcoming content or ideas that may happen in the future. Now, as most of you guys know, there was this huge dilemma in the Division community when 2 weeks ago they announced the year 2 content, and apparently that this stream wasn't intended to be a year 2 announcement stream. The point of the stream was to celebrate the 1 year anniversary of the Division and just to let people know that year 2 is going to be a thing. Now, a lot of people were kind of upset because they announced 2 free content updates. They didn't give a lot of information, and it seemed like they were kind of just, pushing the game aside and getting ready for the Division 2. Well, it actually turns out that this isn't the case. They just were very vague on the information because this wasn't like a year 2 announcement. They didn't feel like that was what everyone was expecting, when we all know that everyone was expecting, what is for year 2? What are the ideas behind it? Now, they talked about having feats, seasons, loadouts, a bunch of really cool stuff that are going to be coming to the game. And the reason I think a lot of people got bummed out is because they talked about how there was no chance at a map expansion, no new story missions, and no level cap increase. Now, a lot of people got level cap increase mixed up with gear score increase. Level cap increase would mean going from 30 to 40. You know how you level your character up from 1 to 30 when you first start your character? Well, a level cap increase would be to go from level 30 to 40 and then have gear score at level 40 or something like that. They said there's no chance at doing that for the Division 1 for year 2. And but that doesn't mean that there's not going to be new weapons, new items, new gear sets. They talked about a bunch of new stuff that's going to be in the upcoming content updates. And they even talked about there being a patch before the patch in the summer that's going to deal with a lot of the problems that are in the game now, like bug fixing. Stagger's probably going to get nerfed. They might look at Nimble, maybe even Deadeye. I hope Deadeye gets reworked because I don't think Deadeye is a very fun set, in my opinion. You may think it is, but I honestly think that it would be way cooler to have Deadeye be a gear set that kind of promotes hitting headshots rather than not hitting headshots. But they made a lot of statements in State of the Game that I was very, very happy with. Now, some people said, oh, they're just doing damage control, this and that. And I honestly don't think so. I think really they were expecting that stream just to be a 1 year celebration stream and just to let people know that year 2 content is coming, so that people don't have to keep wondering. There's so many people asking, is there going to be year 2 content? Is this the end for the Division? And they just wanted to let people know that there is more content coming to this game absolutely for free. So I think that year 2 is a little bit underrated currently. I think a lot of people are kind of down in it before we even see the real patch notes and information that are going to be coming. There's, I'm just as bummed as you guys are about there not being any new map expansion and stuff like that. But seriously, if you think about it, the Division has so unbelievably much content that they could do tons of things with the stuff that's already in the game. Now, I would like a map expansion, but do we really need it to have fun year 2 content? I really don't think so. There's so many things in the game like survival, underground, and all the DLCs that we got that can be innovated in so many different ways. For example, we've been asking for a hardcore mode in survival for so long now. How much replayability survival could have if they made it more PvP oriented and made a hardcore mode where the weather conditions were less punishing, but you had to get to the dark zone right away and it would just be this battle royale experience. There's so many things they could do with the stuff that are in the game. Adding new gear sets, adding new weapons that's gonna make new builds and new interesting innovative ideas that people can have when it comes to making builds. The problem is that with 1.6, with no new gear sets, no new weapons, nothing really new, well, you're not really seeing people make new builds apart from what was in 1.5. Now, obviously, the meta shifts here and there, and some people are using SMGs now, and some other builds that may have not been viable before, like Reclaimer, although I think Reclaimer was pretty good before the change. But you're seeing a lot more variety, and like there's not really a meta currently. You know, you could say, oh, SASG strikers, but really when I go in the Dark Zone or when I play Last Stand, I'm getting killed by a bunch of different weapons, a bunch of different gear sets. It's actually quite refreshing. And you can see in this video here, I actually went to the Dark Zone. I've had a lot of people say, including myself, I was like, you know, the Dark Zone is a ghost town, blah, blah, blah. It's actually not. Like, DZ North is pretty lit, and I got some good PvP here for you guys, where I was just straight up going and just like kind of fighting people up in DZ North, and it was a lot of fun. And this is probably something I'll do more often. I wasn't expecting DZ North to be so fun, and that's just like more things that they can do. They can add like close range PvP modes. They could add a lot more PvE content just by changing around some of the things that are already in the game, and I think we could get a lot of content out of what's already in the game for year 2. You know, with the year 1 content, I know people were looking forward to story expansions and stuff like that, but really the game modes that they added kind of open up a bunch of different possibilities now that they're going to have time to actually tweak things. They also talked about them making changes to Last Stand, so they're going to change, you know, the spawn camping problem, and hopefully, you know, they change my suggestion that I had at ETF that they said they couldn't implement in time, but they might do it down the road, would be for them to rework the DZ 1-3 map. And the idea that we had surrounding that was actually very good, and I hope they do it, because the DZ 1-3 map in Last Stand is way too big, way too open. It feels like a PvE area more than a PvP area, whereas up north in DZ North, like there's so much amazing level design up in DZ North, and I feel like we're kind of not getting everything out of it that we could be getting. Like, for example, I think it's in DZ 7, there's an opera house, right? And it literally looks exactly like a PvP arena. Now, they could have a map where it's 4v4, you know, squad versus squad, and have it just take place in that opera house. Or, you know, maybe open it up around the opera house and have like a little bit of an outside area. And it would, I seriously think it would feel like a third-person Rainbow Six Vegas, essentially, because if you look at all the map structures in Rainbow Six Vegas, it's kind of like they have this big giant building in the middle, and then they have small outside areas around it. Now, I'm not talking about Siege, even though that's exactly what Siege is now that I think about it. I'm talking about Rainbow Six Vegas, whereas like a lot of the action would take place inside the building, but there were spawn points outside of the building, and you would just kind of have this massive brawl inside, and it would be a lot of fun. And I think that there are so many areas in DZ North where they could make these small little 4v4 maps and really have a hardcore PvP area and have no NPCs. Get the NPCs out of there. Get them out. Like, I've been watching Dr. Disrespect way too much, but yeah, like, just get the NPCs out for the PvP matches, because now that we've had, like, Last Stand, which I think is really good at what it does, it basically brings, like, PvP and PvE into like one mode, and now we need, like, a strictly PvP 4v4 competitive mode with rankings and seasons. And I don't know, there's so many things that they could do, guys. Like, I'm super excited just sitting here talking to you guys, because when you look at the game and notice how much content has been added to it. Now, when I say content, I mean, you know, weapons, gear score, the Dark Zone map increase, HVTs. They could do new HVTs. There's so many ideas that they could do. They could do new Dark Zone events, which I hope they do. We had this idea at the ETF, which I'm not sure if we can talk about it, because I don't want to break NDA, but it was actually Weezer's idea. He was another ETF member. You guys have probably seen him around the Division channel. I think he's a mod in there. And the idea was to kind of have the rogue system kind of changed in a way where, like, there'd be end game for, you know, the rogues, where it's just not, you know, straight up just run away when you're rogue, but more of have, like, I think the idea was to have like a rogue supply drop that would come in when you hit a certain amount of kills to give you proper end game. There's so many ideas. Now, I don't know if they'll ever implement that, but it was such a good idea that, like, because what it would do is it would funnel everyone from the dark zone to one part of the map. And I seriously think that small changes like that to the game that we have now could make the game feel completely different and give us a year, if not more, of replayability. And I just wanted to kind of let you guys know what's going on and why, like, this whole thing was a bit of an overreaction, which I think is really good, because when you have a community that overreacts a lot, like the Division community, it means that it's a passionate community, and that passionate community is much better to have than a community that's passive about everything and not excited about things. And if people are emotional, then that's good, because it means that deep down they either really like the game or want to really like the game. And I think there's a lot of things ahead to be excited for, you know. Now, a lot of people are going to say, well, are you going back to only doing Division? I want to kind of spread my channel out. I've always been the type of person that wants to keep all opportunities open. And I'm seeing a lot of opportunities for having a fantastic time this year with, like, you know, Destiny 2 and a bunch of other things. That was hilarious. That guy's like Butter's a little bitch, so I had to give him some celebrations on top of his body. But there's like tons of different things that I'm going to be looking forward to this year. But just know that the Division will always be a game that I will keep close to my heart. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, be sure to drop the video a like, and I will talk to you guys next time. Take care, everybody.